Slurpty-derp, my G's. How are you doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to do a video on Vital versus Phase Plant. It's finally here. I've thought of 13 categories to rate them against each other in, and they are as follows: power, filters, cost, ease of use, sample section, chorus, distortion, FM, effects and modulation, unison, possibilities, CPU, and reverb. So let's get into it. So I'm just taking a little walk kind of in my neighborhood here in East Berlin, and it's very important to get the blood flowing. Anyway, let's start off with power. So for this, I'm going to have to choose Phase Plant as my winner. Just the overall sound, I feel like in Vital it's really good, but there's some sounds I've made recently within Phase Plant that just seem to have a lot more like low end kind of oomph to them, so it's going to have to be a winner for me in that case. Next up is the filters, and for me, I think Vital takes the cake here. I don't know why or what it is about the Phase Plant ones, but the non-linear filter is great, but I don't like the way you can't really seem to mix it in and out. The sound is not so good when you're like, you know, doing the dry wet mixing on the filters. So that's one thing that frustrates me a little bit. But also with Vital, I think that, you know, having those phaser positive and phaser negative filters, you can get such a nasty sound using those, and you can mix them in really easily. So I think the filters just sound a bit better in Vital. So that's one of the only parts of the effects that I think is lacking a bit in Phase Plant, from my personal opinion anyway. Next up we have the cost, and I'm sure you guys already know the answer to this one. Obviously Vital is the winner in this case. Obviously it's free, you can pay for a better version, but even the free one is just great enough on its own. And I don't know how much Phase Plant costs on its own, but it's definitely not free. So yeah, Vital just has to win in that respect, and it's amazing how good of a plugin you can use just for free. So big ups to Vital, big ups to Matt. So next up we have ease of use, and again I'm pretty sure you guys would guess the answers to this one. I'm going to go for Vital again, simply because when I started using it, it was about an hour or so until I was making some absolutely amazing, like textural, deep, dark, dirty neurofunk basses, like quite swiftly. And with Phase Plant, it's been a much longer process or learning process to get my head around it, get to grips with it, and yeah, like try to figure out what the hell is going on and how to make some cool sounds. I got there in the end, but I must say that ease of use, definitely Vital takes the cake. So next up we have the sample section, and I think it's really awesome that both of these synths have the possibility to drag and drop your own samples in, but I'm definitely going to say that the Phase Plant sample section is way better, simply for the fact that you can drop in a sample and also have a noise generator as well, whereas in Vital you can't have obviously a sample and white noise. And white noise is really integral to sound design because it fills out the high-end frequencies that a lot of other sort of sound sources won't be able to smoothly reach in the same way. So it's really important to have that, and to be able to have that and a sample in your like sound sources is just like, yeah, much better. And also I love the way that you can loop the sample in Phase Plant a lot easier and choose the start time of the sample. On Vital it's very much, you know, like a one shot, and it starts at the beginning. You don't have so much manipulation around it, so definitely Phase Plant is the winner in this case. It's very important actually for sound design to have a good sample section, so this is a really important one for me. So next up we have the chorus, and this is a little bit of a smaller, kind of less important category, I suppose, because it's only one effect, you know, but I just would definitely say that the chorus in Vital is way nicer sounding than the one in Phase Plant. I haven't really managed to achieve anything great with the ensemble or chorus section in Phase Plant. They seem to just do the kind of normal job that a chorus and, you know, ensemble, you know, would do, and that is effectively to sort of spread the voices around it and almost, yeah, wash the sound out a little bit. But I feel like with Vital, the way the chorus algorithm works, you can actually really enhance and like boost the sound into like take it to the next level rather than sort of taming it down like I feel like the chorus does in Phase Plant. So definitely just just as a chorus effect on its own, standalone, the Vital chorus is way better in my opinion. So next up, again, it's like another like singular kind of effect, but one of the most important ones in sound design, and that's the distortion. And for me, I think that both the distortions in Vital and in Phase Plant are really good, and it's difficult for me to choose a winner. So in this case, I'm gonna have to go for a tie. The reason it's very close is because I think the Vital ones almost sound a bit better and have a better algorithm, because I feel like when I make a bass using the oscillators in Vital and then I distort them, I know I always get a really wicked result, especially using like the sine fold mode. That's really great. And similarly, the sine distortion in Phase Plant is also really great. I would say maybe not quite as good, but then you also have the added option of the phase distortion, which can add like some extra cool harmonics as well. So I think like overall, I think the Vital distortion is a bit more powerful, but the options with the Phase Plant distortion types and having the phase distortion kind of level it out. So really is a tie on the distortion front. So next up, I have the FM, the frequency modulation between two oscillators. And although I think it's wicked in Phase Plant and you have like so many options and you can create so many oscillators to do your FM, I feel like the Vital FM has a better like algorithm or sound. So I feel like you can more easily get like a nasty, dope, like kind of mid-range, really expressive sound through like some simple FM in Vital. So although it's very close, I think that Vital takes the cake for the actual like how great the FM kind of sounds. So yeah, this is a very close tutorial analysis video. They're both really great, and there's very slight differences. But yeah, FM kind of sound overall, Vital is the winner. Next up, I wanted to create a category for effects and modulation as a whole. And yeah, because I talked a lot about like the individual effects that I think are quite important in sound design, but as a whole, like on the whole like kind of toolbox available, it's definitely going to be Phase Plant that has to win. Obviously it just has a lot more effects, and like there's a lot more modulation options and sources, and the options are a lot more limited in terms of the effects and modulation in Phase Plant. So in this case, although some of the individual effects may be sounding a bit better in Vital, as a whole with your modulation and effects options, I definitely think that Phase Plant is the winner and takes the blueberry pie. Next up, I wanted to talk about the unison modes. And so this is obviously, when you've got your sound source and you want to like create more voices and spread it out, make it even wider, introduce more harmonics, just take it to the next level. There's like advanced unison modes in both Vital and in Phase Plant, but for me, it's absolutely unbelievable what you can do with the global unison in Phase Plant that I've learned in the last sort of week or so. Just the way that you can, especially the frequency stack mode, it just like generates these extra harmonics into like any kind of sound that are just like incredibly otherworldly and just take things to a complete new landscape every time. So I don't think that really happens with Vital. It kind of just does its job, and there's some cool chord unison settings, but those are in Phase Plant as well. So yeah, I think in terms of like the global unison, just from a creative standpoint of what you could actually achieve, the Phase Plant is the winner on the unison front for me. So another category I've created, which is a little bit suspect, is just labeled possibilities. And by this I just mean like as a whole, like what kind of possibilities do you have, to keep going and keep creating more and more like different and unique sounds. And I think that it's quite obvious that Phase Plant is the winner in this respect, simply because there's so many more modulation options and sources, and you can just like one of my patrons said he sort of wrote a whole track just in one patch. So you know, the possibilities are really a lot more endless in phase plant. So in terms of like longevity, I feel like, yeah, phase plant is the winner in this respect, and that's quite an important category as well. So yeah, big ups to Killer Hearts. So my next category, which is again quite a simple one, is very, very quick and easy to get over, to get through. That's the CPU usage. So for me, obviously, Vital is the winner in this one. Just from my operating system, I've seen that I've been able to put in a lot of Vital patches at the same time, like different layers, and I've never really had any problems. With phase plant, especially when I use the global unison, my CPU starts to stack up pretty quickly, so I find myself bouncing things out a bit more in phase plant. So yeah, just a little, I don't think it's a real big issue, but for me, yeah, like when you're a bit concerned with CPU in your project, then I think Vital is probably a safer bet. So Vital wins in this case. And last but not least, I've got another like singular kind of effect that I want to talk about, which is reverb. And yeah, for me, this one is won by phase plant. Again, I think actually the main reverb section, like the kind of normal reverb effect, is probably a little bit nicer and better on Vital. I like the way that it's got a built-in low pass and high pass. That's really, really important for me. I guess you can sort of configure this in like the snap heap or multi-pass or whatever those sections are in phase plant. But yeah, I like the real like simple use of the reverb in Vital more. However, the convolution reverb and things you can do with that in phase plant, and like layering that in through your sound design process, you know, having that convolution to add in that more kind of natural edge to your sound is just like a lot better, and it allows for much more like possibilities to get your sound like even more unique. So I have to give phase plant the point in this case. And yeah, you know, with the sample section and the convolution reverb and the like global unison, those three things are probably my favorite things about phase plant at the moment. And so you're having a combination of using all those really well, I think you can create the dopest sounds ever. So I'm really loving that at the moment. So those are my 13 categories that I have sort of analysed and compared with. 6 points cleanly won by Vital, 6 points cleanly won by phase plant, and 1 point tied for in the middle. So it's a complete tie overall, but I feel like some of these categories are more important than others. And so if I had to choose a winner, I would probably say that I would prefer to spend more time with phase plant, just because of the options, the limitlessness of it, and the sample section, and a little bit the like pure power that I seem to get from like the low end from some of the sounds. So I would say that phase plant is the overall winner. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. She definitely enjoyed it. So yeah, much love. Don't do anything I wouldn't. Peace out.
Too great.